I am just getting everything set up. I have some stuff on my desk, and I need to put my arm in the way so I can get this up and running. No, 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 none of that. Close everything. Go into there so I can see comments, etc. Stream manager. And let me apologize right now for my voice. My son was sick over the weekend and I was in a market. So my husband took care of him, but he's still sick and still in the house, obviously. So apparently I am either getting or have gotten some of that, and or I have allergies. I definitely have allergies. I just don't know if I have allergies at this particular moment in time. So my voice is going to be crappy all stream, and I'm going to cough and most likely sneeze, which makes me think allergies. So I'll just apologize in advance for that. It's going to be a rough day, guys. Rough day. So I have been doing some work before the stream just to get some things done. I need to make my cards, or the cards submissions for my design team blog posts, and I have decided that I'm doing these things here. So this is one of the cards, which is going to be a confirmation card. I colored this on another stream, I don't know, last week or the week before. I can't remember. So that's what this one will become. And then I have card bases here. And then I have these scenes that I also colored before that I'm just going to mount and put on cards. So these are the two that I finished, and this one I finished. And all we're going to do is mount them, and then we're going to go to the latest watercolor day. I'm not sure what day it is in that challenge. Sorry. But whatever the day is, I think it's day 5 or 6. I don't know. Whatever the day is, we're going to do that one after this. So I'm just going to finish this up and see how we're doing. So I had cut, was it this one? Probably this one. Okay. So I had cut a card base. Well, I don't think it was that one. It was this one. To fit this panel exactly, and all I have done here is I took the piece that I colored last time and trimmed it, and then trimmed some strips of colored paper and just made a colorful border, and then die cut. The dog hair is strong on my desk today, and then die cut this to add to it, pop it up, make it look pretty. But right now I've taken the two lightest purple colors that I have, and I just put a light border around her, which I'm not sure if you can actually see. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, well, you probably can't see, but maybe I can zoom in later. But I'm just taking the second to lightest and put a border around her, and now I'm going to just feather it out with this lightest, just to add a little bit more interest. And I'm just going to blend this line that I've already made, and then I'm going to feather it out from there. And this is not going to be very specific or detailed. It's just so it's not as plain and white. So, and then once, as I said, once I'm done with these cards, I'll hop over to some watercolor. And my son is finally back in school today, so I was able to actually get some things done, did a little bit of shopping, picked up some things we needed for the house, and got some work done. The way we do this like design team thing is that every design team member has their own days, and my days are the 4th, 14th, and 24th. And I usually like to have all of my, I still have to like finish them, photograph them, and then write blog posts about them. And I usually like to have those before, 2 or 3 days before. But today is the 3rd, and I need to get this one absolutely done today and in there for tomorrow's release. I would have done them over the weekend, but as I said, I was at a market, and yeah, so my time has been busy. All right, so that's that. And then just to go over the extreme edges and feather them out a little bit more, I'm just going to where it ends. And again, you probably can't even see that. Let me see if I can move it up and focus. Here we go. But then you lose lights. Yeah. So there's just like a little light border around. So now I'm just going to feather it out a little bit more with forgot one of the lights, with the blending pen, just so it fades into nothingness. And again, this is quick and dirty. But hopefully it just adds a little bit of interest there. That's it. That's all she wrote there. This I'm going to pop up on some foam tape. And this I'm going to, maybe I'll use this side because there's tape on it, which means I probably use it for something else and then change my mind. So, really sorry about all the throat clearing and the raspy voice, etc. You know, that's what life with kids is, apparently. So I'm learning. Just another entry for the things that they don't tell you about having kids. Nobody warns you that the first couple of years that they start things like daycare or Barnahage or whatever it's called, wherever you are, and school, that they will be the sickest that they've ever been in their life. It makes sense, of course, but you don't think about that when you're having kids, right? No. This is my absolute favorite foam tape. It's just 3M window. I think it's like window insulation tape. But it works really, really, really well. You can cut it into the smallest pieces, and it will hold its shape and form. So I probably will never use anything else because it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm kind of, I guess, die hard in that way. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Definitely not broke. Does everything I need. I'm just making sure that none of the tape is coming out past where I want it to. And I'm just also making sure that I have good enough coverage that none of it shrinks when I put it on the card so it doesn't look wavy. Oop. The things you learn, right? Did you have a good weekend? I, as I said, was at a market, and I was there Saturday just with my friends that were there, and then Sunday my other friend came with me, and we went right next to it. There's this place called Mott Holland, and it means like food hall, and it's kind of like the variety of like a food mall court, but with like really good food, um, artisan, or I don't know. It's not any chains that are in there. It's all small businesses and really good food, crazy good food. So we got some lunch, and then we got some desserts to take home. There's one place there that makes cupcakes and donuts and little individual pies that are kind of like what I'm used to, like American style. I think the owners are actually from Canada, but it's more in the style that I'm used to for that kind of stuff. So it's like a nice little taste of home for me. And my son was really excited to get a white donut, which just means a plain donut for him, like a honey dipped or glazed or whatever you call it. And then he didn't like it. So my husband and I had to eat 2 donuts. Aw. So sad. So sad for me. Okay. I am not going to do anything else. Usually I try to put on a little bit of bling or excitement on after it, but this is going to be it. So she is all done. And now these other ones, I have 2 of these, but I colored them the same, so I'm just going to mount both of them, and then one will go in my collection like to sell, and then the other one will go to the store as a display thing. So this one is far too big, which is absolutely fine. I can trim off what I need. I'm just trying to determine what pieces I actually want to trim off. So the animals are close to this side, so I'll make this flush and then trim this off. So, oh, and I have to write down the ones that I'm using so I can reference them in the blog posts. So, MFT, which is My Favorite Thing Stamp Company, and the name of the stamp is Birth Yay. Yeah, so thank you for the hosting. Long time no see. So I'm just going to glue everything. I never know where it's going to land, so the more tape I put on, the better off I am. And then I'm going to try and even off so that there's an equal amount to trim off here and here. And I wasn't that successful, but I'm not too displeased with that either. And this one is colorful and more of like a scene, so it really doesn't need anything else. I am going to add a die cut sentiment in Norwegian, similar to the last card. Gratulera means happy birthday. It means really just congratulations, and it's used for happy birthday, good job, like just pretty much all of life's congratulatory moments, I guess. So I just need to decide. I have a die here that I'm going to use, and if you don't know what that is, it'll make sense later. And you know what, I can just actually I think I'll mount this, and I'll mount it so that there's a white stripe on each side. This one can go on display, and this one can just be sold or something. I did not get so close to the side there. So that is an inordinate amount of tape, but it is what it is. So I'm just trying to get an even amount and then keep it even on one side, and it should be even on the next. Trim off the excess, add the same sentiment, and we are done. But what color do I want? I want something brighter. This one has two. One has like a background, and this one is just the word. So I could put it there, I could put it up here. I think up here is better, and probably with some more contrast. So I could do like white and like a gold or something, or red. Red would be nice also. So let me get some paper for that. Okay. Have like some folders that just have like scraps in, and they're perfect for this kind of stuff. And unfortunately, I have a small die cutting machine, but it's kind of buried right now. So I have to use my quite large one. But you know, it's not really a problem either. And this is how things get die cut, if you did not know. So I want the background to be white, and I just barely cut it long enough. So hooray. And then that one's going to be red. And I'm going to put this one through a couple times. Because this one has a lot of like nooks and crannies. And the word is stuck. There you go. And I really wanted to make sure it got a very nice clean cut. So there's one. And that'll be the background for it. So sorry. I don't like allergies. I don't like being sick. And then not knowing if it's one or both is kind of frustrating. I have to do this regardless, so if you can handle my rough voice and occasional sick noises, then you know. Okay, there's two. And oh, that cut perfectly. So I just need my tool to nicely take it off. And I cut two so that I can use both for the cards. I need to poke out the little things like in the G and the A. And then glue them on there. And these are so tiny and so delicate that I need to use a glue that is small. It's like very thin. And typically I can get that with this pen. And it's just a matter of whether or not it decides to work today. And I do not think that luck is in our favor. Which just means I haven't used it in so long that the ball point that is in there is stuck. Do I have any others? Not of this kind. I have this one. I'm not sure if I've ever even used it. Clearly not, because does it even have anything in there? Oh, it does. Maybe if I keep at it. Let's see. Just pressing it down to kind of open and let the liquid flow through. That also might have dried. And the only problem is I have a ton of glue, but these are so small. I'm not going to work on that one anymore. Oh, the bane of my existence are these pens. All right. Hopefully my zig works. Hooray! Okay, that's what happens, I guess. Why you always choose name brand. I'm not going to put that back on because it doesn't matter. The dog hair is just crazy. My dog is now shedding, and right after lunch he wanted a lot of love, so I had to oblige. Now I'm covered in hair. So I just need to go along the back side and make sure I get glue in all the places that I definitely want it to stick. It doesn't have to be over every single piece, but any weak spots you want kind of shored up. And you don't want anything to be able to like kind of pop out. And then you just have to kind of, on a hope, wish, and a prayer, and line it up so that it fits and looks good, and every letter goes in its own place. And then press it down, and you are good. Rinse and repeat. I'm really hoping that my microphone is actually so good, because I don't know anything about microphone technology. I just know that it's like one of those boom ones. And it has like filters on it and does things. I'm hoping that it keeps away all of my little sniffles and coughs and sneezing. I don't know if I can be that lucky, but it would be nice. And you might be wondering, how do you do that? And this is just years of experience working with these kind of dyes. All right, so I think that's good. We'll just glue that down there, and we'll just use the same glue, actually. Even though it's bigger, it's working. And for a bit, this is like repositionable, kind of like the tape that I use to put the what are these called, panels on the card base, because I'm a klutz. And it's always good to have things adjustable rather than 100% concrete until you want them 100% concrete. Like that. It's fairly straight-ish. Straight enough. So this one is mounted, and then these are done. I don't, because it's a full seam, I don't really feel the need to add any bling or extra stuff. I mean, you certainly could, but I like to add bling for things that are very like clean and simple. And while some people might consider this clean and simple, I do not, because it's a whole scene. So a little bit higher, put that down there, and a little bit more that way. And now we can press. 2 down. And the last one is this one. This one also needs, oh, this is an A2. Hold on. Different card base. So this one also needs something to it. I am thinking maybe I can use this same small die and just put something along the bottom, but make it a little bit nicer, maybe like in a silver sparkle or like a gold or something. But I'm also thinking that I kind of want a design around just to die cut it. So this one will just give it a stitched border. If I can get this lined up properly, which I can. Just make it a little bit more elegant. Oop. Put this in the trash. So I'll do that first and then deal with the other thing. The machine. Make sure that this actually does what I want it to do, where I want it to do it. And if you don't do this, or if you do this, I don't know why people watch me. So something like this, it's always easier and better for your die cut machine if you put it at an angle rather than just completely sideways or top facing or something. It just makes it easier to go through. Look at the dog hair. Holy hell. All right, trimmed off a little bit there. Get this out of the way. I think I need to bathe my dog and start working on controlling that hair. Then you just gently push it out so you don't crease the paper. And then you have a nice finished border. Adds a little bit more elegance. And this is something that I consider clean and simple because it's just the image that's colored. There's nothing really much around it. And so I will add some bling, but I need to find some, I think I'll maybe use a gold. Maybe a black and a gold. A black for this background to draw attention to it, and then a gold. Let's see. We can try. Ow. I do have black here. We can just find some gold. Okay. So I actually have some silver, which I don't think I want. I think I want, this is like some like just cut-offs of things that I've used in the past that I can use for things like this. So I save them. I think I like this kind of more muted, less brassy. So just cut a strip of that off. And put that to the side. So I think black and gold always looks really good and kind of elegant. And I think it'll draw attention to it. So I'm going to go with this combination. So again with the die cutting machine. Come on, let go. Ah. This plate on the back is magnetic, so it keeps the die where you want it to be, but sometimes, just occasionally, it, sorry, it likes to move it on you and not keep it where you want it, so you just have to find a place where it fits and where it will stay. I don't care where on the paper it is, but it needs to be on the paper, right? And did that move? It did, but I don't care. And I'll do this one a couple of times also for the same reason. And I think technically you're not really supposed to do this, but in my experience, that works much better. All right. I just knocked over my pile of tissues, which took over a pile of cellophane. Okay. Whew. So now, oh, we did really well. Okay. I'll worry about getting this out after there's less to around it. So that's done, this is done, and then this is also done. Then I'll poke out the little pieces and very gently get it out of the die. If you pull too hard, you'll rip it. Ask me how I know that. In some little areas like that, you just need a little bit of finesse. So, I need to clear out the inside of the A there, gently, and the inside of the G there, gently. It's not like a piece that comes out, but it does like cut it so that you can see what the letter is. Same with the E's, and I want them to be able to pop through and show the background so you know what they are. Yeah. So same deal. But then after this we'll pick out some bling. And get that on, and then we are done. Then I need to set up for watercolor. They come out like at like, I don't know, 3 or 4 o'clock, like Eastern US time, and I am 6 hours ahead of Eastern US time, so even when they come out at noon, like my office time is over and my family time is in full swing, dinner, getting ready for tomorrow, all of those things. So I can't ever do them on the same day that they come out. And I didn't know, but she took the weekends off. I thought I would have like many to do today to catch up, but in a stroke of sheer luck, she has taken the weekends off from the challenge and hasn't released anything. So I am doing yesterday's, which came out for me last night, and I will be on time. Well, I'll still be a day behind, but I won't have 4 of them behind, just 1. All right, before I glue that on, let's get this onto the right base. Tape this on like that. This card is just a tad too big, or the panel is a little bit smaller now, so I'm just going to trim the card to be the same size once it's on there. Oh, I have to write down what this stamp is. It's by a company called LDRS, and it is number 3293, which is quite odd. Most of them have like a name, but I don't know. I was thinking that I should go through all of my stamps, and there are things in there that I know I will never use again. And I was thinking that maybe it's time to kind of shrink the collection. But then the other half of me is like, but I do take little pieces from one thing and throw it into another themed card, something that fits that way. So I'm just kind of shooting myself in the foot if I get rid of things, but I don't know. I don't know what to do. I know I want less, so I probably should just go through everything. But it's that what if? What if I do find a use for it? I think everyone has the same problem, like with various things in their life. Because it's the second you give something away or throw something away, you suddenly find a need for it or a purpose or whatever. I think, I guess there. That'll work. Plus, I don't really have the time or the energy to go through everything that I have. So there's like kind of a, I don't have to procrastinate on it because I literally can't right now. That wouldn't make a good stream, and there's nothing I can make for markets or Instagram or anything like that by throwing things away or deciding what to take out of my collection. So, no time. I'm going to put you right there. Oh, I try to line my card up with one of these lines on the grid so that I can better see when things are straight. But if I don't do that, then nothing is ever straight. And that's that. I don't want to go too crazy with bling. This is actually a better mix match. So, but I'm a little weird. Don't say anything, but I'm a little weird in that I like the look of things, but I don't like the hole in the middle. It's a problem for me. So I need to find a way, something to cover that up that won't take away from that. And I don't actually really have to do that. I want to do that. I could put one of these in there and then you wouldn't see it. So that's going to be the plan. Just take a few of these out. We're not going overkill with the bling, I hope. She said hopefully. Oh, these are all different sizes. Okay. So and they look different if they are flat like that one or on the edge like that one. On the edge, I think, and then probably a smaller size. Work? Why aren't you working? Work. There we go. So something like that. Which is so minute, doesn't make any sense, and you won't see it unless you have it in your hand. So I'm not going to spend any more time on that. That's what I'm going to do. So I just need to decide where I want some of these. And I really don't want to go too crazy. I just want them as accents, not to take over the whole card. I actually think just those three are good. So where is my glue? Different glue. If you knew how many glues you needed for this kind of stuff. Holy hell. I'm going to try to put enough down so that that gets on and then some glue comes through the hole. Because that will be very beneficial. So I can take this and just drop it into the glue there. And it will eventually dry clear. So it will look better when it's dry. Maybe I should put one down here though. I did think I was done, but I think that would even it out a bit. And then let go, let go. Stop. All right. So we'll give this a chance to dry, and that is 3. All done. Yay! In this latest watercolor challenge, it's like an undersea scene, and I have to draw a turtle, and I don't know how to draw a turtle or paint a turtle, really. So this will be interesting. And this will be a pain in my butt right now. And I think I have to start using, I have like a little thing around somewhere that I used to use, put bling in them so that I could just dump it back from that container and not have to deal with it sticking and getting staticky, not cooperating like this. And I think I need to bring that back. It shouldn't take you as long to put the things away as it took you as long to do the whole thing. Maybe. Okay. Oh. Stupid tiny little things hiding. All right. So these cards are done. I'm just going to stamp the back and then leave them to dry. Put all the glues away, all the tapes. Ooh, geez, sorry. I don't know if that was loud for you or not. This can go away. That can go away later. These can go away later. And that. Okay, I'm going to leave this glue pen aside. Maybe I can heat it and get the ball to loosen up. It's full and not many years old, so it should still work. So recap, here are the 3/4 cards. And then don't tell anyone, but these are the ones that are going on the blog. Probably this one first, because confirmation time is like really soon, if not already. I don't actually know what the date is. I just know it's coming. All right. Now, and I need that for later. I can't tell you how much I hate writing blog posts. It's definitely a thing for me. Let me just move that. I think for this one, I'm going to want a bigger picture. So I think we're going to take an A4 size sheet and then just make a nice big border. And I think a nice big border. And let's see if I can use up the rest of this blue tape. Um, what on earth am I looking at? Just finished his thingy. What is this thingy? That really doesn't sound good at all, does it? But my friend sent me a picture of something her son created, and she called it a thingy, and I don't know. I don't know what a thingy is. It's it doesn't look like it sounds, I guess. But I don't know what I'm looking at. It looks like a ball. A ball of knitting? I don't know. So define the thingy, please. Okay. I saw a post on one of the art groups that I'm on that says one of a teacher that this person is following or saw a tutorial for something. The post was titled like "Stop Taping Your Watercolor Paper," and it's something about wetting both sides of the watercolor paper so you don't actually get that buckling. Because every time you wet the paper, it rises and creates this uneven texture. And apparently, if you wet both sides of the paper, then you don't have to tape it down, and that buckling doesn't happen. And I guess it's only because one side is dry that it happens. I don't know. I was kind of interested in watching the video, and I think I'll probably try and find it at some point, but at the same time, I like creating these big borders. If I don't tape, I can't do that. I mean, I could just like, put a pencil mark and whatever, but then I'll have a pencil mark on my piece, and if I'm using light colors, you'll still be able to see it. Even if I erase it a bit to, so it's a very faint outline, it'll still be there. Ooh, that was the chair for no, the arm piece for my chair was loose, so I went to go and push on it, and it fell down. Yeah, so I don't actually know what I think about that. I don't know how I feel about not taping. For me, it holds two purposes. One, oh, sorry, again. I hope that wasn't too loud. It holds two purposes. One, in that it gives me the border, and then the other one, it tries to like minimize the warping by having your paper taped down. And to be quite honest, that's never worked for me. Your paper's going to warp regardless. It doesn't have to warp permanently or whatever, but anytime you add a decent amount of water to something, it's going to change and ripple and whatever. There are probably ways around it, and maybe this wetting everything is one of the ways. I don't know. It requires more research. Okay, that one is done. I'll come back over to this masking tape and just finish. And I'm taping twice, one to tape it to the board and once to create that border. They can be one and the same, but I like a bigger border than I need for taping. So I tape twice. There's probably better ways to do it. If you know of any, let me know. But for now, this is what works for me. I'm very much a believer in do what works. Alrighty, I think this is a vertical painting as well. But I did get water, so I have clean water to wet my paints and clean water to rinse my brushes. I assume she is going to use a very big brush. I don't think I need, oh, maybe I could use that actually. Use a 16. I'll grab a 12 just in case, and I'm going to use all the same company. Go down to an 8. And then I probably need a very small brush, and my smallest in this company is a 2. Is my smallest a 2? Yeah, my smallest is a 2. Okay. Now I need to bring up the video and find the email and do all that things because I wanted to finish those cards. Stop. I wanted to finish those cards and get them done so I can just take pictures later and make my blog posts and be done. Since one of them is due tomorrow. And now that I am, I have like you can change the backgrounds in like your Gmail, and I have it so it's the weather outside of where you are, so the background is the weather, and it's telling me that it's snowing outside, but I am looking outside because I have a window right here. It is absolutely not snowing. It's also like, I don't know, 12 degrees, so 12 degrees Celsius, which is too warm for snow. So I think Google is just maybe a little drunk today. All right. Oh, today's day 6. Day 6. Did I do day 5? What was day 5? Did I mess something up? Day 5 was... Oh, I didn't stream that one because I posted day 5 on my Instagram because I actually painted it while I was at the market. I did that on Saturday. So, this was day 5. And I did a small version because I just took my stuff with me. And my dog has donated here to the cause. And this was day 5. Nice sporadic. I think it's called Reflections on the River. So there's that. And then today is called Underwater Adventure, Underwater Journey. Okay. In real time, this project took her 54 minutes using a heat tool to manually dry each layer. And the tutorial is around 19 minutes. Watch the tutorial all the way through first and then turn it on again while you paint, pausing where you need to focus on your work. I have not yet had a chance to do that, and I'm not going to make you sit here for 20 minutes while I do that. So we're just going to do a mixture. And let me see, what colors does she use? Does she write? Does she write them down here? Maybe they're on the video. Supplies list. Oh, here we go. Prussian blue, Payne's gray, and white gouache. She literally only uses 2 colors. I mean, I don't really consider white is it the absence of the colors? Is it a color? Hard to say. But really, I'm just looking at the Prussian blue and the Payne's gray. And while I was at the market, there's an art store nearby that I took a trip to. And I actually got the Payne's gray that she uses. And I'm probably not going to add it into my palette unless I really, really like it. Because I just spent all the time redoing my color chart in a nice little rainbow kind of pattern, and I would have to make room somewhere for this, and I don't know that I want to. And then really the only place for it is next to the other Payne's gray, and then I think I'll get confused. So I don't know what we're gonna do. I might just put some down in a dish and just use this for glasses. I don't know, but I do have it, so now I can see what I'm missing. And none of these palettes have room for things. And oh, maybe this is the thing actually that I use for all those little glitzy bits, so that I can just pour it down. But maybe I can use this and just put a little bit of paint, and then I can dilute on my palette. And I think I will do that. So just a touch. Ooh, or more than a touch. And it looks black. This one also has 2 versions of Payne's Gray, this company. So it's going to be interesting to see if I got the right one. It's just called Payne's Gray. There's no other information given. Let's see. Prussian blue, white gouache. And I'm going to clean up this brown a little bit and just use that last pan for all of the blue. Let's see, where is the video? Here we go. Click here. Let me turn it down so I don't have any copyright troubles. And I'll press play now so I can get through all of the commercials, because I do not pay for YouTube skip the commercial thing. We probably should, but I have an aversion to monthly fees unless they're absolutely necessary. Like my Kindle, you know. Okay. Can I skip? I can't skip. All right, I'm just gonna let that run a little bit and let her do her talking. And in the meantime, I'm gonna wet my brushes. Or wet the main one, the big one that I use. Put these on the stand over here. And I'm gonna mix. I'm gonna take my medium brush here and mix some blue. And this Prussian blue is one of the newest ones for me. And it's a beautiful, beautiful color. And I need to move you over here. So, and I need to close you. And that's good. Okay. So I imagine that we're going to use a very, very diluted version of this in the beginning, but I am going to add more water to my brush and the paint so I can get a darker version up here that I can mix in when I need to. And then I'll just add water down here to make it lighter in value. Sorry about that. And if you didn't hear, then I'm happy and not sorry. All right. Very, very watery mix, because that's how pretty much everything starts out. Okay. All right. She already does something different. So she does start off darker at the bottom and then is going lighter as she goes up. So I'm going to let that play a little bit. Clean off this brush and wet my paper. She's talking about masking fluid, which I have, but I don't want to use. So there's like a circle right in here that we're going to keep kind of clear. So while she's talking about what she's doing, I will start to just get this wet. Okay. Dog hair on my paint. And I cannot get it off. There we go. Okay. I'm just trying to even out the water the best I can. And I'm going to go backwards on her video a little bit and pause it. I'm going to pause it. So she takes a, this is not going to be enough. She takes a darker value here and then starts at the bottom. And she starts darker than that. So I'm just going to pull some from that area. And put that down. And then pull up some of this lighter stuff, and she makes like a little void here, so we remember in this area generally, and then she gradually goes lighter up. And really I'm just not adding any more pigment, I'm just letting it slowly fade out to get that same result. And I'm going to add some water and kind of clear out this. Try my brush off and really pull away. Because it's so wet, it's still going to fade in, so I'm going to make it bigger so that it seems like the water will slowly push in there because it's still wet, but it will still be lighter. So And then I'm going to go back in and go darker, and then just gradually bring it higher up. And it looks like she does this a couple of times. So let me let her play for a little bit. So that's a decent gradient. She still has it much, much darker. So I'm going to dry off my brush and pick up as much of this dark as I can and put it right here at the bottom. And actually, I think I'm going to go in the well. There you go. And then I'll clean this off and just bring it up a bit. I want a little bit less water. I'm not going to worry too much about the top because I know that we add something to that later, but I am going to see if I can get this a better gradient. Okay. So now she dries this layer completely, and before I do that as well, I'm going to come in and just make that a little bit bigger, because we are going to do this multiple times. So I really want to make sure that I have enough space, and the water is going to creep in every time, which is fine because then it won't be like a pure circle of white, but since we're doing this multiple times, I'm just going to try and get it as big as possible here in this first one. Okay. And then I'm just going, so there's no like really rough edges, I'm going to go around with just water, kind of soften. So it does bleed a bit. And if you want the link to this tutorial, let me know and I can pop it into chat. If you want to paint along, or if you are even remotely interested in just watching this kind of stuff, if you're watching me do this, then maybe you want to actually see someone who knows what they're doing do this. So, and now I'm just going to dry it. Okay, you might be able to see the change in color. But what I can see is the change in color, and also I can see the paper going back down, so it's nice and flat right now. Um, it'll change as more and more water gets added onto it, but if I left it like this and took it up, it would be mostly flat. And so that's what I'm looking for. It's not just about the paint drying, it's about the paper drying as well. So that when I add more water, I don't move the paint around because the paint underneath in the wet paper would move. So that's what I do. And now we'll go backwards just a little bit. And now she's just wetting with clean water. And I am going to just very quickly and without a lot of rubbing, because I can see that a little tiny bit is coming up, and it could just be this color. It could be, it's going to happen regardless, but I don't want to just move things. I'm trying my best not to, although it seems like it's pretty much inevitable. So, and now I'm going to go in. I needed to mix more Prussian blue. She's going in with the darker color this time, just a little bit. So I'll put that down. And then just add a little bit of water to it and hope that it's not too dark. And just kind of go gradient up, and then also remember to avoid this area, and whatever I do put around there will kind of bleed. You can see it happening over there, and I can pull back from it, and like I did before. And this started drying up here, so I'm just really making sure that I add more so it can stay wet. Okay. Apparently, I've gone too far, and she doesn't do a second pass up on this top one, so I'm just using a lot of water and then taking the water and paint off of my brush just on the paper towel. And now I'm just moving paint, so I'm just going to rinse my brush and try again. I don't want to take everything away, but I wasn't paying attention. If I'd watched the video first, I would have seen that she doesn't do this top area, but time. Yeah, so I'm just trying to fix and even out, and I'm not probably going to go further than that. But she goes deeper on this bottom part here. I just dropped water on there, but I'm going to pick up some of this paint and just go over it again. And just kind of try and add some variation in here, and she stays generally away from this area, but she does deepen up these sides. And I'm just going to keep moving the paint a bit just to get some variation in color. And where I want it deeper, I'm just going to drop it in. Because she doesn't have it completely even. And like that, but I'm going to go around this area a little bit more. My rinse water is like so blue right now, so it's a good thing that we're not using very many other colors. And then just by wetting it, some of that lighter paint will come in, and that bleed is kind of what I'm looking for. So it's not just a perfect circle. And then I'm just moving the paint around a little bit. And does she dry again? Let's watch. Although she goes so really deep dark. And then there's a puddle down here. And okay, she has not really changed, but what she has done and is gone in up here now with a lighter value of this to just add some color. So I'm just going to rinse off my brush a little bit and then just do some uneven swipes like that and let that bleed through. If it doesn't bleed as much or looks odd, like up here, I'm not really happy, I'm just going to take some clean water and kind of move it around so that there's some variation. And I'm going to come in with a little bit of this deeper. I did want some darker up here just to make it look a little bit more variated, I don't know, natural. So I think I will do that. And now, does she dry? Okay. All right. Nope. Now she's adding more blue and just playing around and adding more and more and more. But I think I'm just going to drop in some color where I want it the darker. And this isn't kind of, I mean, she is doing this, she's just moving the color around. And so I'm just kind of adding my version of that while trying to make sure that I keep this kind of as light as possible. I don't want it completely white, but I do want it light. So I think I'm going to dry my brush off and suck up as much as I can, just in a kind of zigzaggy way so it doesn't look like a perfect circle. So it blends a little bit better. then just water on my brush. Just gonna play around. And make it look as chaotic, I guess, as I can, because nature, you know. This is nice and deep there. I'm going to take just a little bit more pigment and just go along the bottom here. Kind of sporadically, but definitely at the bottom. But just add in some darker. So it looks a little bit like more water. I mean, natural. Oh, it's still wet. Up here has dried. And I'm just, this is just the water that I cleaned my brush with. It's so blue that I'm just going over it to wet it again so it doesn't dry unnaturally, or you don't have any of those lines. And then add in some color and take away color. And it's still now so wet that it will blend a bit. Like that. Now does she dry? Sorry. Okay. Now she dries, and I'm just looking at this, and this is like a shelf, and I don't really want that. So I'm going to come in with some of this darker and just kind of jag it a little bit so it transitions better. And kind of doing it at an angle. I don't know if I'm really meaning to. That's starting to dry there, so I'm just going to wet that a bit so it blends better until I dry it with the heat gun. And she spent a lot of time actually just moving paint around, so I don't really feel, I want that to be not so big and not so shelfy. Yeah, so I'm kind of just doing the same thing, moving around. Ooh, I like that. The water has like really moved out and pushed the paint away in some of these areas. And I like that. I like that so much actually that I think I'm going to dry it now so that I can keep it. So let's do that. Okay. My tape is coming up over here, but it's just the tape that keeps it to the board, so I'm not going to worry too much. That heat gun gets so hot, and I don't know if you can see, but it's like starting to ripple the paper here. Probably because of the amount of water and because of the heat of the heat gun. And I'm not too unhappy with that. It doesn't really look like hers, so if you were like watching mine and hers at the same time, you'd see vast differences. But I'm not unhappy with what I have. So let me see what she does now. She has a lot more contrast down here, so I think whenever we wet this area again, if we do, I'm going to add some more blue and probably throw some of that Payne's Gray into it to get the deep dark part of it. But it looks like she switches to the top. So, yeah. Oh, she went and put Payne's Gray in there. I should have seen that. I'm going to take a second and just watch what she's doing here so that I can not miss something else. I know. All right, so now she goes up to the top and she uses Prussian blue and a mix of Payne's Gray, and she alternates. She does many layers up here, which is gonna show the waves. So like if you were underwater and looking up, then you would see these differences, and that's what she's working on now. I can't tell. Did she? I need to go to a bit backwards because I know it's dried at some point, and I just need to see when that changes and then what she does from there. But I did miss the adding the Payne's Gray in the bottom. So I'm going to have to go back and do some. Okay, now it's dry. Hold on. Oh, okay. I'm going to pause there because she does re-wet the whole page and then she goes back and adds more blue and then Payne's Gray just up at the bottom. So I didn't mess up too bad, thankfully. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, this is probably wrong also, but I'm going to start down here. And just with clean water, wet everything and not try and rub so much so I don't reawaken what's underneath. But I'm going to spend like a lot of time up here in this like next step. So this will be wet over and over again. But while this is wet right here, I can go in and pull some more blue, some more like pure pigment blue in and let that bleed a bit. Just kind of move it around to where it needs to be. And then I can also clean off my brush and just add in some of this Payne's Gray so that it has time to blend and become interesting. And hopefully not take over. It's so weird having paint in a different container. And then I'll clean off my brush and just kind of soften and blend that in. Add some more blue. I want to give this time to kind of play and do its thing on its own. And I'm kind of liking where this is going. So I'm going to leave that alone. As I say that, I think about adding just a little bit more lighter Payne's gray down here to just add more sections of dark and light. And I do want to blend this one just a little bit better. So just add some up there as well. And I'm happier with that. And because I have such a glare from the lights, I need to look at the screen to see what it looks like from like afar. And now I'm gonna come up here and just give that a quick wet. And she uses this Payne's gray and mixes it in with the Prussian blue. Hers is a more bluey color, but I'm going to stay with that, and let's see what she does. Well, first, she goes with a smaller brush because we want thinner lines. So, clean this off. This brush is so big. My paper towel is soaked. Okay. So go to a smaller brush and add some of this mixture and just add in some kind of like uneven wavy stripes. So it looks like water moving. And then she spends some time softening it out, which I will also do. I want some of that white and the blue to come through. And that started drying, so I'm going to just wet the edges over here. Blend that a bit. And I'm going to take some paint, wet my brush so it's a lighter value, and go a little bit further down. So there's movement everywhere, but not as strong a color as up at the top here. I'm just putting in a little bit more pigment because they really faded, in my opinion. And then I'm going to just soften these edges a little bit more so I don't lose the white underneath and the blue underneath. And I'm just gonna I'm using my dirty water because it has a tint of blue to it. And just smoothing those out a bit. They're not really as uneven as I'd like. They're a little bit more symmetrical. And so I'm just trying to correct that. And then while this is still wet, I think she comes in with more Prussian blue, but I don't know how dark. Pretty dark, actually. And then okay. All right. So she's done this a number of times. So I am going to grab some more of this Payne's Gray, add it up here. And she gets quite dark, actually. So I don't think I have to be as scared as going too dark. Although right now I'm super scared. This is really dark. So, yeah, but this is wet, so it'll move. So, and the more she does this, the more she's adding in like smaller strokes. And now she's saying that, or what she said just a second ago, is that if the paint is moving too much, you need to maybe let it dry a little bit. And it is moving too much. So I think I'm going to take a thirsty brush and just kind of take off what I can to get that spider vein bleeding away. And if any of these like terms don't make sense and you want to know what it is I'm talking about, just definitely please feel free to ask. And yeah, so I'm not going to put much more on my brush, but I am going to put some smaller kind of strokes in between. I'm going to take some paint out of that area. I don't want to add more, so I just don't want there to be clear stripes, but I want to be able to see that there's white underneath. So that's why I'm making some differing. I do want that to dry a little bit more. I'm just looking to see what the sheen was like. But I can see that because I wet over here, this started to dry kind of veiny and leave a shelf of color. So I'm going to try to fix that before it gets too bad, and then just add water everywhere so it can just do its thing the way it wants to and come up into here as well. It's this little piece right here that I'm not exactly thrilled about, so I'm just really lightly rubbing it with my brush, moving some paint around, and then I need to go back and continue wetting this so that I don't have any of those dry lines. And for down here, I'm using the dirty water. Whoa, look. Dog hair. I can't wait until she stops shedding, and she's just started. All right, how am I going to get that off? If I wait until it dries, or I dry it with the heat gun, then there will be a hair-shaped line. Haha, got it. And how bad did I do? Yeah, that's fine. So I got rid of that line, and now everything is wet. And this is more, this is drier than up here, so I'm going to go in with some more of this color. And I'm going to tap off any extra so that my brush doesn't have a ton of water. And I'm just going to do more of these kind of like weird zigzaggy kind of lines to break up some of those white spaces. I'm really glad that I got to keep them for as long as I did, but now I don't want them as permanent. And that was starting to bleed out, so I'm going to scrape this away because we're going to come in with some of this fairly deeper blue and just kind of make like an area where like the fun would be coming down. And she just keeps going back and forth with blue and the Payne's gray. And I'm just going to alternate the direction. And it's bleeding there a little bit, so I'm going to just soften those edges. I don't care if it bleeds a lot. No, I do care if it bleeds a lot. I don't want it to have the spider vein kind of bleed. And I'm going to just clear up. I want this to bleed further in like that, so it's just a little bit more circular, and I'll drop in some color because it's wet. And I don't want it to be exact. And then I'll go in with this mixture again, just add some darker lines. She has a lot and it's really dark. Definitely up here a bit, and it's starting to dry a little bit more than I would like. So take a little bit of water and move this around, and then just move the paint. I've lost some of those highlights, so just gonna suck up some of the paint and let it blend. And I'm gonna take some clean water and just stop that from hopefully creating another line. Hopefully. And then I'm going to go in some of this dark color. I'm going to put it in lines and see what happens. As I said, hers is really dark at the top. And then progressively gets lighter. I definitely think we need some from the sides here. Maybe not as uniform as that, but this side is good. I think I'm going to just leave it like that as she goes back in and changes more stuff. Let's see. How does that look? I lost a bit of the blue up here in the corner. My brush is too wet. So I'm just going to tap some in and let that bleed while it's still wet. And maybe over here, make that highlight just a little bit less. And anywhere that there's like where it's drying, just kind of blend it a bit. I think I need to change my paper towels because they are just drenched. I did start creating some cloths that I can use, so I'm not so wasteful, but all right, what are we thinking? Does that look like kind of waves from the, I'm really heavy with dark on that side, much less on this side. I'm not sure I really care so much about that, but I would like to get some of more, a little bit more dark up here in the corner. But I don't want it totally black. So add in a little bit more blue, kind of balance that out. Did I just ruin it or did I add to it? That's the question. Thoughts? Any thoughts? All right, I'm going to see what she does next. Okay, now she drives. And I'm not sure what we're doing next, so I'm going to leave this as it is, except for right here where it's starting to spider a bit. And I think I'm going to dry it there. And then we are doing some dry, wet on dry layers after, so I'll just fix or enhance what I need to then. Okay. Haha. I need to go backwards a little bit. I had her playing so I could see what we are doing for the next step. Okay. All right. Now she's switched to wet on dry and she switched to a smaller brush. And this towel, I could squeeze it out right now, so I'm going to retire that because it's not really helpful. I'm going to grab a few more so that I actually have something I can dry my brush on and not just re-wet. All right. I actually like, I don't like this bright white there, but everything else I'm pretty happy with, even though some of it is kind of spidered and there's so much pigment that it's cracked in some areas. It kind of adds to the fluidity of the water for me. So I actually wouldn't mind leaving it just like this. But because it's a tutorial and a challenge, I'm going to do what she does. I'm just obviously going to do it in my own way. I do like how the bottom came out, and I do still love these like kind of like sunbursts of light that came out. This kind of spidered with this darker pigment, and I actually like that. There are some drier lines up here, but apparently we're going to go in after and do something with this kind of like center piece part. So I'm not going to worry about that now. Now what she's done is mixed a Prussian blue and the Payne's gray, and she's just made some lines on top of this to kind of further sharpen it, I guess. So I just need to, yeah, okay. She just said she's doing this to add some crisp detail on top of the wet on wet layers. Okay. So now she switches to the smaller brush, and I'm going to mix up okay, I've skipped ahead far too far. Okay, so it doesn't use too much, which is really good. So I'm just gonna add some, and it's a fairly lightish value. So I'm gonna add some, a little bit of both, and I probably went way too dark there. But let's see what happens when I add some water. Still, I think a little too dark and not as blue. So I'm going to come up with some blue on the top here and add some water, and I'm being very daring by pulling water over my painting. So I'm going to be a little bit smart and add some from a dropper. And I think a little bit darker. It's hard, I'm just kind of going off of what she has on her palette. And it's not, oops, sorry about that, not exact. So let me just see what I can do here. That looks a little bit better. Darker with Payne's Gray, but still blue. If I ever get blue out of these brushes, it's going to be amazing. Because my dirty water is so blue. I'm not sure I can get clean out of there. But I'm going to scoop up some of this paint, and she just makes really messy waves. Just, oh, not like that, but that's what we have now. I'm afraid that I'm going to make it too too clean. So I'm really trying to be messy, and I'm going darker. That I'll just use some water, clean water, and see if I can just soften this so it's not as jarring and sharp. And maybe add some squiggles to it. So this is to add some sharp contrast, or some sharp like detailed lines on top of the look that we have, but I'm still trying to kind of keep the lights with the light and the dark with the dark, and I'm trying to be messy, so it's just not, and can see I'm also just going too straight. I'm not going messy enough. So I'm going to add in some varying strokes and different angles. To kind of break it up a bit. And what we get is just what we get. To me, it's like kind of overdone at this point, but if you could compare, hers is like really messy, like really messy. I'm having a hard time embracing the mess. And I'm actually having a hard time embracing like the real sharpness of some of these lines. So I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, but maybe I can just feather them out a little bit. I'm not going to probably, I don't know, I'm just going to go until I'm happier. Because while I know I want details, I just don't think everything has to be so sharp. I don't know. I know that I liked it better before I did this. So I'm probably going to mess it up. But them's the breaks, I guess. Learn from everything. I don't think that she's gone and done this with hers. But honestly, I really just liked it much better without these messy lines. And maybe that's the lesson learned. Like, maybe don't go in with the mess after. Maybe stay with the soft. Maybe add less mess. I don't know. The one thing that I have learned is you always just have to just keep going and see where you are. I mean, absolute worst case, I can soften this all out and go back in a second time and add less. But in my opinion, I feel like I've lost the beauty that was underneath. And I really liked that. So I don't know. I do not know. I just don't like the straightness of everything. Any thoughts, opinions? Maybe this could be a mistake, but maybe if I come in and do some kind of curves. Maybe that will help. And maybe because I've softened all of this out, they will blend a little bit better. I don't know. I don't think so. I really did like it before. I think I'm going to soften these. Yeah, I really liked it better before. I thought that it looked much better. So, yeah, very much dislike this. Very, very, very much dislike this. Um, in my opinion, I just ruined the whole thing. The whole top. So, but I also have learned it does not help to go backwards. And if I go backwards and try and take this away, I'm still not going to have the really beautiful underneath that I had before. But maybe I would have less lines, and I really dislike it enough that I think I'm going to try. Probably a mistake. I'm unhappy with all of it. Totally unhappy with all of it. So I'm going to take my big brush. I'm going to take my dirty water because it has that blue tint. And I'm just going to wet all of this. And then I'm going to use a paper towel and a brush. And I'm actually going to wet all of this so I don't have any sharp lines. But I'm not going to do anything down here. Just want it to not be any shelves of color. And if that stuff moves, then that just moves. I'm going to just concentrate with up here. I'm going to try and loosen up as much of this top layer as I can. And again, probably a horrible, horrible mistake, but we're going to make it anyway. I just only see these lines. That's all I see are those stupid lines. Horrible, horrible lines. Unhappy. Don't like it. Let's see if I try to brush them away if they get any less defined. Doesn't really look like it, but I do also see paint moving. So I'm just going to keep trying. I did try and go messy, and I think I succeeded in the messy part. I think it was just too much. I think I went overboard, even though I was just following along. She added a lot of detail. But I don't know, I really just liked what was under there underneath before, and that's gone now. There's no way I'm going to get that back. But maybe I can at least soften some of this although it really doesn't look like it. Don't care. Well, actually, because I'm just taking paint off, I can just scrub that off with a paper towel. Okay, back to scrubbing. And this has to be really light as well, because I don't want to like pull up any of the fabric cotton in the paper. So I can't really like scrub. I'm just hoping that I can get away some of the sharpness. And then maybe I can go back in later and kind of redefine some of these sharp lines or hide them or something. I cannot tell you on how unhappy I am with this. So oh, it just looks like a scribble. I lost so much beauty that was under there. So I'm not going to dry it. I'm just going to go over it. And oh, I could kick myself. And going over the whole thing so I don't have sharp lines of drying. But I'm going to take off as much water and pigment as I can. And I'm going to just go back a few steps. Even though every single painting I've said don't go backwards, lesson learned, don't go backwards. Obviously, I'm not learning because I'm going backwards. And I'm going to go in with some of this Payne's Gray, and I'm just going to see if I can kind of get some of that background movement in that I had before. And I'm going to let it bleed, and I'm going to make light and dark sections again. And I'm going to hopefully cover up some of these lines. And then I will also go in with the Prussian blue in a fairly pigmented, not that pigmented, but I'll mix it with what's down here, which is a blend of the two, and add some blue in. See if I can get some color and movement back in without losing too much. Boy, I'm kicking myself. Holy hell. I really liked what was under there before. So now I'm just going to go in and make sure I can keep some highlights in certain areas, like around here. Although maybe I'm going to move this highlight this way a bit, and I don't like that shelf that's there of the lines, so I'm just trying to hide what I can. That blend in a little bit. just move stuff around, get back those beautiful highlights that I kept fairly well. I know that I think we come in later with some gouache to kind of like have the sun rays coming down, but I do still want some really light pieces. And what she said in her video was that she just kept going backwards. Not going backwards, but coming back in, removing some color, going back in, adding some more, making things even out a little bit. I really, oh, I could kick myself. Live and learn, right? And I think I'll come in with a little bit more blue. I want some more movement, so maybe each layer should just be in a different kind of angle. So I'll add that in and then come back, take some out, and let it bleed and blend. Are you swearing? Are you like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, I am. Oh, I think that's the best I'm gonna get with that. I'm gonna add some blue here. Let that bleed in so it's more circular shape-ish. While this is still really wet and the paint will move. Just gonna add very faint lines going down. But I know that we're actually doing something with that too. So now I have another hot mess of blue and Payne's Gray up here at the top. And I really, really liked, sound like a broken record, but I really did like what was there before. So I'm sad that it's gone and there's really no way for me to get it back. So yeah, that's where we are. Boy, am I sad. Okay. I think I'm going to dry this And then, as much as I don't want to, I think I'm going to, I'm just softening these lines here. I'll come back in with the detail lines that she adds. I really hope I have salvaged this. Because I know even if I try it again, I'm just not going to get the same movement that was up there. And I really did like it. And now it's just a blob for me. So, I don't know. Let me dry it, see where we are. Oh, heartbreak. Heartbreak, I tell you. Okay. So now I think the only way to salvage this is to go in with darker colors, darker blend of the Payne's Gray and Prussian Blue. And I'm going to add minuscule. I'm going to go very curvy. I don't know if this is what I should be doing, but I'm just so heartbroken that I don't know. I'm just gonna vary. I'm gonna make them kind of water shaped, thicker in some places, thinner in others. I'm using dark value so that the lightest that is there is will pop out a little bit more. I'm trying to add varying thicknesses and connections, shapes. Yeah. And I'm just trying to be not as strong. I realize that I do need the contrast. But maybe I just don't need the quantity. Maybe the messy was what was my problem. So if I can go just a little bit more stylized, I'll like that more. I don't know. Any ideas? Any thoughts? Do we like this? Do we hate this? I think what I have is like decent, but then it's also too sparse. So I think I'm just going to come in with some thin lines. And just kind of maybe this is my version of messy. I don't know. Trying to add movement without overtaking and putting as much as was there before. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's too clean compared to before. But I definitely didn't like what was there before, so I'm not... What do we think? You know, some of these are pretty chunky, and it makes me wonder if I should have more that are chunky to kind of even them out. In certain areas. But then the other part of me is like, enough, stop, stop. Let me look at that for a second and see. Let me take a step back. It's almost like too clean on top of too messy. And I really, 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 really didn't like the messy. So is there a balance between... Can there be a balance between the too messy and as clean as this is? Is it possible? What if I came in with some blue? Is that going to make things better or worse? I didn't like what I had before. Not so crazy about this, although I like it way more than what was there before. So maybe the color change. Maybe that will help. I don't know. What are we thinking? Yes, and I like it better now than before. Yeah, it was really messy before, right? Like, is it because I changed the shape of the strokes because they're not as straight as they were before? Or I don't know. I think adding the blue for the color change was a little bit of a better move, but still, it's to me, I really wish I should have just gone backwards. I liked that top, and it's almost like I can't accept this because of how much I liked it before, and that could be it as well. But this seems too clean on top of too messy. I don't know. What I do know is that I don't want to make the same mistake I made last time. So I am putting my brush down, not touching that top right now again. Not doing it. Sorry. All right. I'm going to move on. Loose, gentle strokes. I'm not putting any loose, gentle strokes anywhere over there. Yep. I'm not going for what she's going for there. So I'm going to skip ahead. Let's see. Oh, for F's sake. Okay. So she lets this dry and then she wets it again. So maybe I can get lucky. Maybe if I let this dry and maybe just hit it with the gun a little bit, when I go over and wet it, it will soften it out enough without actually changing or making it messy. Maybe. There's a chance. I'm a little excited, actually. All right. Okay. Ah, okay. I'm going to dry this just a little bit. Okay. Now what she does is she comes in and makes this bottom part darker so that she can scrape some away. And have it be like sun coming down into the water. And she spends a lot of time. Mm. Okay, I've gone. All right. Boy, this is pretty frustrating. And I'm supposed to end in 10 minutes, and I'm not even going to be remotely close to that. So I might go a little bit over, but I absolutely have to be off by 4 o'clock. I need to go get my son. So I'm going to try not to hem and haw as much as I have been and make as many big mistakes as I can, as I have before. And I'm just going to do what she says, but what I think is the right part of that. So I don't want another mistake up here. She wets the whole thing, and then she re-wets up here. So I don't know. Here we go. She adds a lot of color to deepen this bottom part so that she can take a lot of it away for it to become light. And oh Jesus, here we go. Spaghetti Monster Supreme, have mercy on me. Okay, I'm not doing anything else there. But I'm just going to even out the water down here. And now she takes just some Prussian blue in a fairly deep value and puts it all down so that she can take it all away. So that's then what, again, I don't want that perfect circle. So now she takes this and starts, that paint is going to go in there. So I'm going to take a thirsty brush and pull away some of this paint. And I think I'm going to do it in a much smaller size, so I have a little bit more control. And keep moving the water away from there. So dry brush. I think from here it'll go up and then down. But she's just making lines. To indicate sun rays. And she actually takes a lot of paint off from up here. So it's more sun rays than water. And there's very, very thin strips of blue. And I'm not really sure. She spends a lot of time doing it though, so I guess I'm just going to make some stripes. I don't know about up there. I think I'm just going to leave it alone because eventually I'm going to wet it again and add some white paint into it. And I don't know if that will change how I feel about it. So I'm just going to see. I don't know. I might try this again and see if I can recreate what I had before. I know I'll never get it the same, but something might be better than nothing, right? What are we thinking? I think those are too many, too close. Too even. Too straight. Does that look like sunlight coming through the water? Sorry about that. If you even hear it, I can't tell if my microphone takes away me coughing. And she doesn't really touch so much down here, so I'm not gonna worry so much about that. But let's see where we go next. I think she dries it. I think since this circle is the highlight, it should kind of be in that shape, right? Instead of just straight. Maybe. Maybe not so much over here. Hot mess, I tell you. All right, I think she dries it and wets it again. So let me do that. Okay. So now I guess it does look like some movement coming down. While I'm still watching what she is doing, I'm gonna reawaken this gouache that's sitting in the corner over here. Okay. All right, let's see. I don't know if that's enough white, but we'll see. I'm going to pause there. I'm going to get a big brush and I'm going to wet again. I'm going to use clean water this time. And I'm going to go very wet. Hush now, you know what you're thinking. I don't really want to move the paint, except maybe up here I do. I don't know. I haven't really quite decided still about that top, other than it's not how it used to be. Just don't think I'm going to be happy with it regardless of what happens. But, you know, there you go. Okay, now she's taking... We are adding gouache. So I'm going to pick up some clean water, which is actually even a little bit blue at this point. Get some of this white. Play the video and add it like she does. Okay. And then she just kind of evens out, blends in. And this is going to dry much lighter than it is. So I'm going to leave that as it is. And up here, oh, now she splatters. Oh, hello. Don't go so fast. All right. All right. So now she adds some white, and it's all, everything is wet. So it'll be like bubbles, according to her. And it's going to dry a lot lighter, so I can kind of see where she's going. But now she adds some from up here, doesn't she? While it's still wet. Oh, no. Well, it's still wet. She blends a bit. So I'm going to use my smaller brush for this and just soften them, I guess. And the problem is I'm not sure I really I don't really want to be doing this. Kind of like where we were before. Okay, but I'm just going to soften. That's it. Soften a bit. And now she comes up from the top and she adds some more gouache from this highlight. And then she okay, she had some up here, and then different angles and sizes and shapes. And then she blends it a bit. Maybe this will save how I feel about this top. Because it is going to dry lighter anyway. But just need to wet this so there's no lines. Because I think she also comes back in up here. And I want to blend this a little bit better so it's not as stark and is a little bit more natural. I'm starting to pull some blue into the white. More like I think I like I don't know. I think I'm going to leave that alone. Maybe just soften that edge there and there so it kind of fades out more. And I think I'm going to leave that there. And now there's all white going down there. There's some dots. And oh, now she adds more all over here. So it looks like sunlight is streaming through different parts of the water. Okay, I'm just going to do it. So she just kind of picks a spot and then adds stripes. So I'm going to see if I can kind of vary, and I don't know. Let's see how far she goes. And then she blends it out, right? Yes. Okay, just gonna blend these out so they're a bit softer, not as harsh lines. Does that look like sunlight streaming through the water? I don't know. I really hope I'm going to be able to say that I'm happy with this at the end. Okay. I don't know. I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to dry it. I think we're done. We have to draw the turtle, and apparently we have to spatter more. So I'm just going to dry it and see where we are. Okay, be honest with me. What do you think? I I want your honest opinion. Honest Fred opinion. I think I need to redo this. I think I need to try again. I thought this was going to dry a lot more subdued than it did. And I was hoping it was going to save this up here. And it didn't, in my opinion. So at this point, I'm just going to continue. And yeah, I don't know. This part doesn't look too bad. I'm not sold up there. But yeah. Now we're going to paint a turtle. And I've never painted a turtle, so I really have to pay attention and see where she goes with it. And what does she do over here? Okay. Let's see. She went in with a much lighter color, of course. So I'm just adding some water and seeing how light I can get it. It kind of looks turtle shaped, right? Right? Ish. uh, sure, that looks turtle shaped. Absolutely, it's a turtle. You can clearly see it's a turtle, right? Right. So now she's going in and adding okay, this is a really bad turtle. Okay. Now we're gonna add some white. okay. Just to give some highlights in different areas. And then she goes back with darker and more white and darker and more white. So I'll take some of this blue. It's pretty dark. And I'm going to darken up the shadow parts. I'm going to blend it in with the white a bit. And that's not actually, I think I'm going to come down here. Yeah, that's darker. I don't want too much on my brush. And I'm just going to really kind of shadow in the side of the turtle. Apparently that's a turtle. Does that look like a turtle? I don't know, guys. I'm just trying to blend in some of this white so it's not so stark, because she also goes back and adds more, kind of like when it's dry, as a highlight. So I'm going to give that a quick hit. Really quick hit. Because I want the dark to be dark and the white to be white. So deepen the shadows on this side. I just made the leg bigger. Clean off my brush a bit and grab a little bit of lighter value, blend that out. So there's something for the white to contrast against. And now I'm going to take as pure a white as I can and just add some highlights. Just need more white. Just so show some pieces of the shell and the body that are getting caught by the sunlight. While still having some dark. I don't know. What do we think? Does that look like a turtle? I've never painted a turtle. Guess that's kind of turtle shape. And we are done. So slide this over. And I have 10 minutes to spare. So this was good. I know it didn't sound like it was good, but I did learn. And that's the whole point of me doing this. So my favorite part is taking off the tape. So I'm going to do that and see how it looks without the tape on it. Maybe it brings it together more. I don't know. I'm still going to go back and say, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going backwards, but I'm still going to go back and say that I wish I had left this top part like that beautiful kind of fuzzy Come on, stop. Um, like waves and stuff that we had in the beginning originally. I wish I hadn't done what she did. But you know, hey, lesson learned. And I guess it's not too terrible-ish. All right. The unveiling. Let's see how bad we did. No, I don't think we did really bad, but I'm seriously kicking myself because I just loved how that top part came out, and then that we, in my opinion, ruined it by being as messy. Like hers really is much more messy at the top, and mine is now more stylized. And I think if I had just left it the way it was and went really soft on the detailed waves, I think I would be a much happier camper than I am right now. So I think we all know what this whole like loved and learned lesson is going to be, because I can't stop talking about it. But overall, oops, I don't think it's okay. Overall, it's not terrible. It's not too terrible. Yeah. All right. I actually ran out of my stickies, so I'm just going to take a small white piece of paper and do my loved and learned on that. If I can grab one. All right. Let's see if I can do this quickly so I can go get my kit. Loved. Learn. That's not how you spell that. Learned. Okay. Loved. What did I love? I guess I actually really do like the gouache and the sunlight kind of rays coming down on the turtle. So I'm gonna write the. That's not how you write that. Okay. Start again. Sun rays on turtle. I'm still not sold with the ones up here. But I don't know if it's because I don't like up there completely, or like, so nothing I'm going to see up at the top is something that I will love because of how disappointed I was. But yeah, I'm just gonna put that in the learned category. And yeah, let's go back with loved. So sun rays on the turtle. I love the gradient of the ocean. I think I did get dark enough down here, and I do think I brought it up lighter. So gradient for, I can't write today. I can't speak, I can't write, I can't paint. Just one of those days. Is it Monday? No, it's Tuesday. Oh, I think I'm in trouble. I do like, also, I do love how this kind of like highlight area looked with it kind of spreading out and not being just a circle. I liked how the blue kind of creeped up into it in differing layers. So I'm gonna write the highlight for the turtle, I guess. And what I learned. Okay. How do I put this? What I learned is when you're absolutely in love with something, don't change it. Yeah, I'm going to say that I learned to preserve the areas. I'm going to preserve. Oh, how do I say that? This preserve the sections, I guess. The areas. I'll write areas that are initially special. Because I think I would be a lot happier with this painting if I had the background that I originally had. Yeah. So preserve the areas that are initially special. I have learned that gouache, when done kind of right, or nicely, gouache is a good way to get those kind of like sunlight rays in. So how do you spell gouache? It's a weird word. G-O gouache. I think that's right. G-O-U-A. Don't I have a tube somewhere? Not where I can grab. Okay. I think that's right. So gouache lightly. Wet on wet adds very nice. I'm going to write highlights. I don't often use gouache. I mean, I use it for like night skies, for the stars, that kind of thing, but not so much like integrated in the painting like this. So that was a good learning opportunity. And I still have this kind of like shelf here that I don't know when it came. I didn't notice it obviously when it did come. I'm not so thrilled about that. So, but you know, from like here up, I don't like anyway, so it doesn't matter. This is a great painting right here. Maybe I'll just cut it off right there. What do you think? Good? I should say that I've learned to not go backwards. I'm going to just write that again, even though I've written that every single challenge piece. Don't go backwards. I clearly do not learn from my own mistakes. Maybe someday. Today is not that day, but maybe someday. But all in all, I don't know, what else have I learned? Yeah, I think that's good. All in all, I'm not terribly, terribly unhappy with it. I'm terribly unhappy with the top, but I will admit that it looks better than the hot mess that it was before. So I have that going for me, I guess. I don't know. But that's where we are. Do you guys have any thoughts? Any opinions? Anything that I should add to the learned or loved? What's your favorite part? Yeah. Okay, but on that note, I need to go. I need to go and grab my son from school. So I'm going to leave you with this picture. I'm going to say, take care, be nice to one another, and I will see you on Friday. I may occasionally, at times, put in surprise streams here and there. I don't know. My schedule's a little busier this week, so I'll do what I can for this challenge. And if you want to see the pieces that aren't streamed, you can always go look on my Instagram, which is Cards and Collars. So, yes, that's it. And is there anyone? Oh, um, no. Okay. I thought there was someone that I could read, but I do not have anyone that I can read to. So, have a great day, and hopefully, I'll see you again soon. Take care, and bye bye.